This is my first test of the DJI OSMO 360 camera on the bike. I've been shooting on GoPros since like the first GoPro. What was the Hero 1, I guess? Or I don't even know if they called it the Hero back then. I've always been a fan of GoPros. I used to shoot a lot. When I lived in Southeast Asia, I'd always hook them up to a helmet or like a chest mount and get a lot of bike footage there. And it was always a cool, unique perspective to get from the street. They improved pretty consistently in terms of resolution, color, stabilization. But the thing is, they would also have more problems with each one that came out. I think it was, I don't remember what year it was, but I got the DJI OSMO Action camera. I got it used not long after it came out. And it was it was bulletproof. I could depend on it. It didn't freeze. It didn't overheat. It did exactly what I wanted. And from what I could tell, the picture was just as good, if not better, than any of the comparable GoPros at the time. So when the DJI Action 5, I guess it is, the one I'm using right now, came out, that to me was a no-brainer. And that's because of the 10-bit log. Anyway, I had a GoPro Max, and when I tried to make videos on the bike using the DJI Action alongside the GoPro Max, I just couldn't make it work. First of all, one of them was shooting in real 4K, and one of them was definitely not. Not only that, but the color there was no way to get the colors to match up. So I held out, and then I saw that DJI was releasing the Osmo 360. And the thing about the Osmo 360 is that it has the same 10-bit D-Log-M color science. I guess that's what you call it. You could shoot in log. You could shoot in the same mode as the Action camera. So if you're making video with both cameras together, you can much more seamlessly match the color space to look like, you know, they're the same camera. I'm sure that when I get into some of the faster areas, there's going to be a lot of unruly wind noise. But I'm also recording onto a DJI Mic Mini, which is attached inside of my helmet. And I've got another DJI Mic Mini on the license plate, just to try and pick up some of that lovely engine noise. I'm shooting in broad daylight, which is never a very good idea. Another obvious disadvantage is the placement of the Osmo 360. It works fine as a camera where I have it, but as far as the Action cam is concerned, the footage looks like shit. I mean, it's right out in front, blocking the view. It just looks terrible. But it'll work in terms of testing out the color. Now, one thing on the Action camera, I've got it set so the white balance and the exposure is locked in. There's a 32 ND filter on the lens, and I've got my white balance set to something like 5300. I don't know, it's just a bright, sunny, blue sky day. The Osmo 360, on the other hand, has a kind of an auto adjustment for exposure. So when you come out of the shadows, it throws your exposure down. When you go into the shadows, under a tree, into a tunnel, something like that, it boosts the exposure. So that's a definite disadvantage when it comes to trying to get these things to match up. On the other hand, when you're dealing with something like that, the fact that you can shoot and log, you can compensate for that. Now, there's another difference I've noticed between these two cameras when you're using them in conjunction, and that is both of these cameras are recording at 24 frames per second. I've got an ND32 filter on there. And what that allows me to do is film at 24 frames per second, but at a lower shutter speed. And at the lower shutter speed, that makes the motion blur show up. And it's my personal opinion that the motion blur really gives you the sense of how fast the bike is actually going. Now, the 360 is also filming at 24 frames per second, but to my knowledge, they do not make ND filter for the Osmo 360. So what that means is you can't stop down the shutter speed and get that motion blur. So that's kind of an issue. So yeah, that's about it. Let's see what it looks like.